I have always said not to trust the weekend price action. And right now, over the weekend, we are starting to see a nice bounce here on HBAR and across the entire market. This is what the 4-hour looks like, a nice little rounded pump to the upside. On the 24-hour, looks very good. This is a very solid reaction. This is exactly what we want to see. However, the big thing is that we can never really trust weekend price action, which is why we always look at a major close. The main thing that we are looking at today on the daily is a close over roughly 16 cents. I would round this up to like roughly almost like 16 and a half cents, just to be sure. But you know, this would be a very good close if we can manage to close above this, because this is major support from our recent drop going back to October 10th. And then we just kind of built a floor on this, and then we just lost it recently, which led to us obviously, you know, having this nice drop down to like almost 12 cents. So I want to see us hold the lows that we just recently, found on this chart, and then start to kind of build back to the upside. This would be the next level that I would want to see a floor form on HBAR. That way we could start to, target some of the previous highs. But again, like I said, we can never trust weekend price action, but having a weekly candle close roughly above like 14 and a half cents would be a nice overall view because of a few reasons. Number one, we already have a nice close right around this level. So this could technically be a floor forming, or at least some support forming. On top of that, we do have a nice wick down to a major level of support and also resistance going all the way back to March of 2024. Most charts actually have been holding their March of 2024 highs, but also we could potentially have a higher low on the weekly. This would be very good for structure, and it would allow us to start to kind of potentially build back to creating a higher high, which is all the way up here at about roughly 30 cents. So I'm just watching closely to see, if this weekend price action is going to hold up or not, because I'm always very skeptical of weekend price action, because it's typically it's prime time for manipulation of the price action. But beyond that, things are starting to look good. Let's hope that they continue to do so. Now, on top of this, I just want to quickly give you guys an update. I know that a lot of you guys are a huge fan of cold storage devices to hold your crypto. I also am. Decent Wallet just started their Black Friday sale. Just wanted to give you guys a quick update on this. It just started on the 20th. It's going to last until December 3rd. You can save up to 40% off on some cold storage devices. Decent has always been a very great product. I know that a lot of you guys love Decents. We've been supporting them forever on the channel as well. So if you guys do want to go pick up a Decent wallet right now on sale, up to 40% off, there's going to be links down in the description below. And also don't mind, if you already have a cold storage device. Maybe you have somebody in the crypto space that needs a cold storage device. This is the best time to buy them a gift for Christmas, right around the time for, holidays. So if you guys do want to go check it out, there's going to be links down in the description below. Now, beyond that, let's talk about a few things happening around crypto. So, it's very easy to get caught up in the short term. Even if we think about price action recently, it's very easy to look at this price action currently and just say, all right, well, I'm just flipping bearish because this entire time here, which, by the way, this is not a short amount of time. We're talking about roughly over 120 days almost. During this entire time, we've just been selling off. We've been going sideways, like nothing's happening. This sucks. I'm done with crypto. It's boring. It's frustrating. I'm losing money. Like, this sucks. It's very easy to get into that mindset. However, I want to flip things a little bit. During this time, and while things are selling off, and while we're in this downtrend, while everyone's panicking, things are changing in the crypto, space. Number one, regulations. Number two, major policy updates. Hedera recently just joined Digital Chamber's state network to advance digital asset policy and financial innovation across the US. This is alongside some pretty big names, which we love to see. Now, the full update, I'm not going to play this video. There's music behind it. YouTube will most likely mute it, so I can't play it. But we do have here that the US has a choice. Let fragmented state blockchain policies hold innovation back to turn them into a coordinated engine for growth, and competitiveness, today we are proud to launch the Digital Chamber State Network. Now, they do have a few images down here as well. I'll just click the first one. So we have states are building a framework for digital assets in America, one policy at a time. The Digital Chamber State Network will unite voices that want to protect innovation, educate policymakers and lawmakers, and ensure consumers have real options to participate in the global finance revolution, no matter what state they call home. On top of that, we also have our impact. This is Arizona, Ohio, New York, and New Hampshire. And the best part about this is we're starting to see major discussions happening around certain states. And we're also starting to see states, kind of do their own thing with crypto, which is exactly what I think should happen. Listen, we've been waiting for the Clarity Act to go live for months now. And yeah, there has been some nice moves happening around it. However, it's been pretty slow. And states no longer want to wait because they are seeing how big this space is becoming. They are seeing how large this space really is growing to be. I mean, this space over the last 12 months really just completely changed in a big way. And it's something that we have noticed. It's something that we've been putting a spotlight on with institutional grade adoption, Wall Street jumping in, ETFs going live, institutions literally talking about the future with tokenization and stablecoins. Like, states do not want to wait. They are seeing a big opportunity here and they want to make sure that they are ahead of the curve. And that's why when we look at some of these things launching, like of course the Digital Chamber State Network, this is definitely a big one. And I think that it's very exciting to see names like Hedera a part of this. Hedera's always been a part of some significant policy movements. They're already a part of a ton of organizations around policy and regulations with crypto. And again, we know that the future is going to be crypto. We know that crypto is going to play a major role in the evolution of everything around us in terms of finance. And the best way to make sure that this does happen is to make sure that we have policies and frameworks in place that can really kind of guardrail this system, this entire new, financial system that's becoming a reality. And that's why these organizations and associations are so important to focus on. And of course, with Hedera being a part of most of them, it goes to show you what level Hedera is operating at, as well. So very exciting stuff. And then also talking about, policies and talking about major, regulations. The Genius Act did go into law back in July. Now, a lot of people think that this is pretty much a big nothing, act, but this is actually a very big one because it's all based around stablecoins. And since then, stablecoins have been growing. I know that a lot of people don't think that stablecoins are, moving extremely fast, but if we're just going back, and I want to kind of move this to, roughly like the new year. So if we go back to roughly like the new year, okay, this is the beginning of 2025. We've added almost $100 billion in market cap to stablecoins since the new year. And by the way, let's go back to this July 18th. If we're looking at this, since July 18th, we've added almost $50 billion to the stablecoin market cap. That's how fast things can change with policy and regulations. And there's a crazy amount of monthly transfer volume moving over stablecoins as well. Now, currently, it's almost impossible to track anything around Hedera, but we do know that Hedera was one of the first major networks chosen from Wyoming, actually, to have a state-backed stablecoin. This is the first US state-issued stablecoin, and Hedera was chosen as the first major network of choice for this. We talked about it. We read the full breakdown. This happened back in September. A lot of people were wondering, like, what's happening with this? Is this still, a thing? Did the state, kind of pull back on this? Like, what's going on? And we just got an update, actually, that this is now live on the Hedera testnet. So this is getting ready to fully launch. It's on multiple networks, but, again, I think that Hedera, out of all of these networks here, is probably one of the most efficient ones. This got posted from HBAR Tata. And then, of course, we do have a video clip going along with it. I know that it's pretty long. It's lengthy. But this does go hand in hand with what's happening on some of these blockchains like Hedera and, what's basically what the future has to hold for a lot of these public networks as well, because this is going to be the first official state issued stablecoin. This is not going to be the last. There's going to be so many more launching, in my opinion, especially with things like the Digital Chamber State Network becoming a reality. I think that this is going to help guide a lot of these states on how to go about stablecoin launches, how to go about tokenization launches, and things like that. I mean, even if we're looking at a few of these impact levels here, like New Hampshire, for an example, presented to New Hampshire's token commission on stablecoins. A lot of the stuff has been around stablecoins because stablecoins are a very easy product to launch and utilize, and the benefits are very clear, which is also why I do think that Wyoming chose Hedera for their state-issued stablecoin. Now, it's going to be on additional blockchains as well, but, you know, this is very good, and it's a very bullish announcement. But check this out. I'll speed it up slightly. I'll go one and a half. Just so that, actually, let me do 1.25, just so that's not too fast. If you guys do want to speed this up a little bit more, you guys are more than welcome to, but check it out.
What I would like to do is turn it over to our Chief Information Security Officer, Mr. Keith Lohorn, to provide a demo of the Frontier Stable Token testnet faucet. And I will let him provide more details and share his screen on that. But just to quickly tell you what a faucet is, this is a manner by which anyone can go and attain a version of a Frontier Stable token that does not have a financial backing to it. So these are on different blockchain testnets, and there's no associated reserve. But this will allow, instead of having a pilot program that we are managing and we're limited in our ability to facilitate that, this is a page on our website that is currently live that anyone can connect their wallet to and go and get some Frontier Stable tokens across not just 7, but even an 8th blockchain. We have incorporated the Hedera testnet into this as we start testing that network for launch in the coming weeks. Keith, if you want me to say anything else, I'm happy to, but through the chair, I would ask you recognize Mr. Keith Lohorn for the demonstration.
Thank you, Anthony. So yeah, we've got a testnet faucet. This allows developers, anybody who wants to learn about transacting crypto or develop use cases, a self-service tool to be able to get free testnet tokens. It's rate limited to up to 1,000 per day per chain. And this will allow for someone to come to the site and choose the blockchain that they would like to develop on and receive testnet tokens.
So what Keith has prepared here is, again, he's requested 100 testnet fronts, that's the T front, on the base chain. He's put his digital wallet address in that field and simply hit the button to request the tokens. That transaction is already done. He now has them. So Keith, if you'd be so kind as to pull the transaction hash, which is the record of the transaction occurring, and then go to the block explorer for base, which is where you can see all these transactions happening in real time. We'll see what that transaction looks like. Once Starlink beams down. And while that's loading, I know Keith mentioned this is something that developers typically want to use, right? So USDC through Circle has this, PYUSD through PayPal and Paxos has it. It's a great way for developers to get on board and figure out how they can implement it into their existing platforms. And to that extent, this is very much an extension of the pilot programs we were already doing. However, we do get a lot of questions as a commission about how people can use this, what technology they need to use it, how it can be used. So this is a great way to play around with things and not really having a risk of messing up, since you can do the transactions and something goes haywire, you haven't set your digital wallet correctly, you lose your seed phrase. That's a way, there's no loss. This is not us problem. This is the blockchain indexer going down. So Keith, maybe what I would recommend is going back to our page and just rerunning a transaction on another chain, maybe on Avalanche. So again, it's pretty straightforward. You switch the network and you make the same request. And again, that should be done in just a couple of seconds. Again, assuming this is, yep, there we go. And so we'll go to the Avalanche block explorer. And if that one loads, we'll see that transaction.
Just a second.
Yep. And then Keith, as you pull that up, just don't forget before we move on, I do want to just show us at the bottom of this page as well, because we do have some instructions about where the contracts are and how to set up a wallet as well.
Just as we're working on this, I got kind of a question about if you get a phone and put VPN on it, would the blockchain wallet be behind your VPN?
Through the chair, Commissioner Meyer, my understanding is that the wallet would still be your address, but it would, if someone's tracking your IP, so it would still be your wallet address, the 0x and all the numbers behind it. But if someone was trying to monitor that, the VPN would obfuscate your IP address, i.e. where your computer is located. So it might route through Los Angeles, something like that, right?
That's what okay.
So this is the transaction on Avalanche. Keith, if you can make that page a little bigger, you can see the transaction hash, which matches what we had on our website. And you can see that the transaction was routed from our wallet to the wallet that Keith included. So you can see there's a transfer of 100 Frontier stable tokens. The transaction fee was 0.0000059 AVAX, which I think is possibly several hundred thousandths of a cent in terms of the transaction fee. And that transaction has already been confirmed for about 2 minutes. There's been 70 block confirmations. So this stuff it's fast, it's cheap. We have it deployed on all the different networks. And that's one of the things we want to demonstrate. So again, it's not only for developers, but for anyone who's looking to experiment with technology and doesn't want to be concerned about losing dollars that are behind it. This is a way to accommodate that. I'll note at the bottom here that Keith has scrolled to, that we note the test networks that we support. We say that these are not available for purchase. They're not backed. We have the contract addresses where our smart contracts are deployed. So again, if anyone wants to see the code that actually governs these smart contracts that facilitate the transaction and govern the Frontier stable token, those are right there. And then there's links to those block explorers as well. And then finally, there's a link to an FAQ page. So if you would just click that quickly, that would route any user directly to our FAQ about adding the testnet front to their wallet. Keith, anything else that we wanted to show off from this demo?
I think that was it. We appreciate your time, and hopefully people will take advantage.
Great, thank you. Any questions from the commission on the faucet?
Would this allow counties and other state agencies to get in there and play in the sandbox and understand whether or not it would be something they'd want to contemplate?
To the chair, Mr. Treasurer, I think that the answer to that is yes. I think that's one of the conversations we'll be having momentarily with Mr. Shell.
So there you guys have it. And again, I actually do wish that when they were running into all of these issues here, if they would have just utilized the Hedera testnet, I feel like it would have been a lot easier, a lot quicker as well. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy to see all of the moves happening around this space with stablecoin initiatives. We now have states putting a spotlight on these public blockchains. I mean, if we go back just like 5 years ago and said, hey, a state's going to launch their own stablecoin, you would think that's ridiculous. Like, there's no way. Like, that's not going to happen. But this also goes to show you just how fast things can change in this space if we start to see positive policy and positive regulations. I think that the Genius Act is definitely a big one. We're already starting to see the effects of it. And I think that this is only going to become a much bigger deal over time. I think that stablecoins, we're still at the beginning phase of almost everything with utility, with stablecoins, with tokenization. It's also why when I look at the price action in this market and I look at, the charts here, like, again, going all the way back to 2021, I know that it's been over 1,500 days. That seems like a crazy amount of time. It's been roughly over, 4 years. What's the hold up here in terms of price action? We should start to see the price going absolutely crazy. Like this, why do we have to wait so long? And I want you guys to understand that, this is technically not that long of a time to wait. Everyone is so quick to look at other charts and they look at everything happening in the space. I really think that everyone should go back and look at Bitcoin, because again, for the most part, like, yeah, Bitcoin has done very well over time. But there was definitely a lot of time in there where, Bitcoin, it took a very long time for Bitcoin to get to the point where it is, today, or even, going all the way back to 2017. You got to remember that, and this is just going all the way back to, 2013. This was 1,700 days. We can go all the way back to 2009 if we want to, upon the first initial launch. During this time, yeah, there was a lot of, great price action, but, let's just go off of the first wick going back to 2013 before, we finally made a new high. It was over, 1,100 days, almost 1,200 days. I know that it's different when we're comparing, Bitcoin to altcoins and things like that. But I want you guys to understand that, sometimes it's worth the wait. Sometimes it's worth just taking a, step back and looking at where we're at right now, looking at how things have changed over time. It's very easy to get caught up in the short term, but we are seeing so much progress around crypto, and it's only reinforcing a lot of these projects like Hedera that have always been, one step ahead, working with major regulators, trying to be as compliant as possible, and pushing utility-based, initiatives, which is exactly what I think everyone should be focused on anyways in crypto. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video.